What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Today I want to discuss a bit more about Bitcoin because you are probably very excited about altcoins. I know I am as well. But what good are altcoins if Bitcoin is not doing anything? That's what we're going to take a look at. Not the shorter time frame, but what can we expect this year, next year, and 2025? I am pretty bullish, to be honest. I think the bottom is in, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be a very, very, very hard year. And I really want you to know that, because if you don't expect that and it happens, you can anyway be disappointed and make wrong decisions. So let's take a look at that. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Hit that like button, subscribe button, turn on the bell notification, and let's get right into it. So this is the Bitcoin chart that takes it all the way back since 2013, give or take. I marked off a couple of very interesting things right here. And I also want to take a look, because this is the weekly chart, I want to take a look at the monthly chart, because there I see something very bullish. And I already made a video earlier last week where I said, like, this might be the beginning of the next crypto bull run. And of course, it depends on what you define with bull run, right? Because here in this bear market, we came down. Is this the beginning of the bull run already, right? Or was this parabolic move really the bull run? Here also we came down, we went up sideways and everything, but is this already the bull run, or is this the bull run, right? It depends on what name you want to give it. But it's at least, I think we can say that the bear market, where it's all down, is over. Like Benjamin Cohen said as well, probably a year where it goes both ways. Bears get wrecked, bulls get wrecked, right? So what does this mean for Bitcoin, and what does it mean for altcoins as well? I also got a chart which shows something about altcoins that's very bullish. So let's get into it. If we want to compare some bear markets, it's pretty funny, right? I mean, here in the first, big bear market, we came down, we got this resistance everywhere, right? Once we broke out of it, we really went up, right? Here as well, we came down, a lot of resistance. Once we broke out of it, we really went up. Now, we had a lot of resistance, broke out of it. Will it really be a move up again? It's definitely possible. So that's sign number one. I'm going to show you a lot more interesting stuff, because I also got a Bitcoin price prediction for this year, for the top of the next bull run. And if you know, or if you think that you know where Bitcoin might be heading, then you maybe don't be as cherry picking, like, should I buy at 24 or 22, or does it really matter if Bitcoin goes to, for example, 100K or 300, 400, 500K? Of course, it matters a little bit, but not as much, right? So that's the first thing. Then, what I also, the older people on this channel know this. The blue line is the Bitcoin halving. Right, and the red line is give or take a year before the halving. Why did I mark that off? Well, a year before the halving, right? Well, in that case, yeah, it was kind of here. We really finally started to pump, right? I can also place it here where we really started the definite pump, right? But here's already where the trend is changing, right? We went down, went sideways, and from this point, it was basically up. Let's give or take a year before the halving, right? Here as well, we had the halving, which get people excited, right? Because, the blocks are getting halved, and then Bitcoin is getting more scarce and harder to get, and therefore the price is going up. That makes Bitcoin go into a bull run, basically, right? But also, give or take a year before the halving, right? Here was July, this was April 2019, July 2020. We got, around a year before the halving, where we really started to pump and also broke out of this trend right here. Now, it's kind of the same structure as well, right? We got the halving at around the end of March 2024 scheduled. And here is where you already see that big pump that we got, right? We got that big pump over here, which is give or take also a year before the halving. Slightly more than a year. Here it was slightly more than a year. Here it was slightly less than a year, right? So that lines up perfectly as well. Here we did a, since the time we got out, we did a 2.5x. Here we did a 4x, right? And that was already a year before the halving, since we saw these pumps, right? So is it so weird to think that at this moment we will get a 2 or 3 or maybe even again a 4x? Well, that's possible, right? I mean, a 2x, which is the worst case scenario when you compare it to the other times, brings Bitcoin at around $33,000 if we get a 2x out of it. well, 200% is not a 2x. We'll put it at around $50,000, give or take. That's possible for Bitcoin to do this year, right? Before we actually get to halving. Now, it's no secret that once we get the halving, it's usually a big parabolic run, right? Here we got the halving, we went completely parabolic. Here we got the halving, we went completely parabolic as well. The yellow lines are when we actually went parabolic. So usually we get the halving, we go a little sideways, and then we go up. The halving before that as well, we got the halving. We even got a pretty dump, right? $760, give or take. And we went all the way down to 560. It's a big decline, right? But then we, a couple of months later, 2 months later, give or take, we really started to pump. Right, so of course, still based on that, the expectation is that we really go parabolic from this point. But what in the meantime? Well, it's the question, of course. We cannot predict that, right? We can only work with the statistics and what we have done before, right? So in that case, we look at these breakouts, and that's very, very, very bullish, of course. If we put this on the monthly chart, I see something very bullish as well. I don't know if you see it right here, but what do you see on this chart? Look at the downside of the chart. Right, that's this right here. It's the monthly stochastic RSI, right? The stochastic RSI is some kind of momentum indicator. It's turning upwards again, right? It's turning upwards again. Exactly at this point of breakout though, but it's turning upwards. Now, we were that low 2 times before, right? So twice before in Bitcoin's history, we got a buying opportunity that we just got, right? That we kind of still have, right? And it's now pointing upwards, so it's leaving the oversold territory right here, right? Now, we were that low here as well when we went down, and when we were leaving it right here, you see what happens. That's the start of the bull run. Here as well, we were that low for, around the same period of time as well. We were leaving it right here, which was here, and that was basically the start of the bull run, right? Now we are moving upwards again. And the chart is backing it up, by the way. That's why it's moving upwards. It's very hard for me to think that the bottom is not in. Said that in the last video as well. Of course, it could come down more than where we are right now. I'm not saying it can't go lower. But the macro bottom, that's $15,500. The charts, a lot of different charts now indicating a bottom. We had an FTX collapse, Luna, Celsius, Voyager, COVID, war, bankruptcies, potential recession coming up. The macro is just bad overall, right? And it's still Bitcoin's best bear market so far, price-wise, right? Time-wise, it was one of the longest, but price-wise. So I feel like, people calling for 12K, like, okay, all this stuff happened and we didn't go there. Then what needs to happen? We need a nuclear war combined with a recession while Binance is getting bankrupt. Maybe something like that combination, right? I don't know. It can happen. It's not impossible, but I don't see it with everything happen. I don't see that happen again, right? So the charts are just saying something way better for now. Also, we broke the bull market support band. That's this this red and green line right here. We broke that, right? And in a bear market, we are under that line. It's resistance, and once we break that also here, it's also the point where we start going up, right? Here as well in this bear market, we are below it. We get rejected all the time, but when we really break it, then we start moving up again. Now, of course, it could happen that we break it just like now and even get multiple weeks of confirmation and get below it again. Right here, we even had a new bottom, right? So, yeah, of course, everything is possible. Right, but overall, the trend is showing something very more bullish than what it was, if you ask me. I made a Bitcoin price prediction for this year of around $40,000, $45,000 by June, give or take. By June, give or take. Go watch the video. I will pop the video up where I said that. It is... I think it's this video. How much money can you make? or this one. I'm not sure. Go check them both. Then I'll make that price prediction for this year. And I honestly think that Bitcoin could go to $45,000. That's actually possible. So with that being said, of course, we could go lower in the meantime. Now, what are the most important levels before we jump into altcoins? The most important levels that I think is something you should look out for. Well, you know, anyway, the monthly stochastic RSI is getting overheated again, right? So it could definitely be that we go down again. And then I think that the area of around 20.5, between that and 22, is a very important area. Why? We had a lot of resistance right here, right? And also here, and we made it support sometimes as well. This is just a big liquidity, point. And I think that if we get down, that should be a strong point. We had a lot of resistance. Now let's test it as support, right? Also, that's where the bull market support band is coming in this week, next week probably, and maybe even the week after that. So in the coming 3 weeks, I wouldn't be surprised, right? And it's absolutely possible. Also, if you just think of the fact that we were sitting at $15,500 not even 2 months ago, and now we are sitting at $25,000, right? So Bitcoin pumped 60% in not even 2 months. I don't know, but it's kind of weird for me to think that people won't take profits at some point, right? Especially now that we are sitting at this, big resistance area of around $25,000, and I've drawn it here. But if I draw it here, it's also making sense, right, with these wicks, and that's why we currently have trouble as well. So, that being said, I want to dive into altcoins as well. But before I'm going to do that, because I see a very bullish altcoin chart though, very bullish. But before I'm going to jump into altcoins, I do want to mention a Bitcoin price prediction for the top of the next bull run. For the people that missed those videos, I talked about that before as well. And there are a couple of charts that make a lot of sense, that give us a good indicator what Bitcoin might be, might do, goddamn, in the next bull run. So I got a couple charts for that. Let me pop it up for you. So the first one is very simple. It's a logarithmic regression band, right? Bitcoin always moves in this logarithmic regression band. We have the lower band, the green band. That's where we always are in the bear market. And the red band is where we are, or at least, close to in a bull market, right? We got a bear market right here. We spent a lot of time in this green band. But we got a bull market and we came pretty close to the upper band, right? Here we went into the upper band, to the higher side of it even. Here we went into it, to the higher side. Here we went, close to it, kind of at the lower side of the red band, right? That's how Bitcoin moves so far. Now we are sitting at the, the green band again, right? And we even went below it. And now we're finally back in it, right? So that's how Bitcoin moves since its existence. Right, so it's hard to speculate on the fact that this time is going to be different. If you think that, then charts are no use. Then you cannot do TA, and then it's just like, oh, I don't know, it's going there, right? This is all we have, all the information. So if we, again, and the cycles just pointed out that the end of 2025 is the top of the next bull run, right? Could be a little sooner, a little later, but give or take. So where is that band sitting in 2025? That's the first one. Well, let's take a look. The lower band in December 2025, the lower band, so worst case scenario, but we never get there in a bull market, right? So it would be very weird if we get anywhere here, right? But the lower band, $70,000, the middle band, $100,000, and the higher band, $160,000, right? But again, in a bull market, we are not there, right? We are here. So that's really, if we get to $150,000 in the next bull run, that, it sounds like, oh, 150, that's a lot. That's terrible. That's weird also, right? If we just do what we usually do so far, right? I mean, a bull market is a bull market, then we could get to the lower side of it. That would point out, December, the lower side of it is $300,000 and the upper side of it is $450,000, according to this band right here. So that's one. Next one that I showed you before, I don't have the drawings right here, I think. No, it doesn't matter. I calculated this way before. And if you take every cycle from the bottom to the top of the next cycle, the average move that Bitcoin does from the bottom to the top is a 70x. Right, so I calculated that a lot. If you take 70x from 15k, then you get a lot, of course, right? But if we just do half as good as average, and also if we take our worst cycle so far, which was a 18x, I think, from the top of my head. So let's say we do around the worst cycle so far, which is around a 20x, right? 20x times $15,000 is still $300,000. It's kind of also the worst case scenario based on the current moves, right? Okay, we have diminishing returns, so fair enough. Next one is this chart. Where the fuck do I have that chart? I don't even know again. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm gonna draw it right here. Bitcoin in its parallel channel. So let me try to draw it correctly real quick for you guys, if I am able to do so, because I lost my freaking chart. That's too bad, I guess. So since 2017, give or take. I have to draw it a little better than this. A lot better than this. Let me take a look. Here we go. Can I make something better out of this? Stick with me. Don't go, please. Don't go, sir. Here we go. All right, kind of like this, right? Depends a little bit. So this is the parallel channel that Bitcoin has been in since 2017, right? We went to the upside, to the lower side, to the upside, to the lower side, where we just bounced off perfectly, by the way. So that's a good sign, which means that Bitcoin is willing to stay in this channel for now, right? That's very, very, very good. We had super good support here. We had a wick below, but we came above it, right? And you can even see this middle band, right? Having a lot of support right here. We have a resistance right here. We again have support right here. So if Bitcoin continues following this band, where's this band going in 2025? Well, again, in the bull market, we are at the upper side of the band right here as well, right? So if we go with the upper side of the band, the end of 2025, that would place Bitcoin at around $450,000, right? That's what the chart is saying. Now, you know, our high, right, was not touching it right here. Our high in April did, of course, because the band is moving up as well, right? So it could be that we do not reach that band, that exact upper band, right? So let's take a little, room right here, but still, we could see a lot of upside. So there are a lot of people on Twitter be like, Bitcoin next all-time high, $90,000 maybe. Makes absolutely no fucking sense, right? It's going to be a lot more than that. Or the cycles are completely broken for some reason right now. But again, do you want to speculate on this time is different and not look at charts? Or do you just want to use the charts and the information that we have right now? In my opinion, you know, I don't want to be too bullish. I also don't want to be too bearish. I want to stay a little realistic, right? So $400,000-$500,000 Bitcoin, it's possible, but it's not my expectation. I think 150, 200 is also too little. That's not what all these charts are telling us. So my expectation, $300,000 to $400,000 Bitcoin, give or take, at the top of the next bull run in around December 2025, which is very, very, very doable. Also, if you look at the total market, right, the total market, how this is moving, this is also moving perfectly between these lines. We are now sitting at $1 trillion market cap right now in total, right? The end of 2025, December, the upper band is 44 trillion. It's 44x on crypto in general, right? And we might also not get to the top side of it, but here we did, here we did, here we did, and here we just didn't, right? So would be weird if we don't even go to like near it, right? So with that being said, if your expectation is that Bitcoin could do such things, then it might make it a lot easier about dollar costing right now. Right? I mean, if you look at this in perspective, then you might feel like, yeah, whatever, man, 25, 18, anywhere in that region is fine, right? Now, some good news about altcoins, because I'm preaching a lot like, okay, yeah, Bitcoin might go up, but altcoins are not doing so good, because you can see right here, it is Bitcoin season, right? Bitcoin dominance is going up. You could have better been in Bitcoin the last couple of half a year, basically, than altcoins. Less risk, more returns. That's what Bitcoin is doing right now. But it won't stay like that forever, of course, right? I do expect that the Bitcoin dominance will go up around here, maybe around here, but the higher it gets, the higher it can fall. And the higher it can fall means an altcoin season, right? And that's where the juice comes in. Everybody is always screaming about an altcoin season, altcoin season. This little fall right here in the Bitcoin dominance that we could get of around 10% is a very big pump in altcoins. Don't get me wrong, but it's not an alt season, right? This right here in June last year was a good altcoin rally, but this right here, that's an altcoin season, right? So I think that, you know, compared to Bitcoin, altcoins won't do that great for now, right? We should get higher first. But overall, there is some good news for altcoins, because that's compared to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is also going up. And you can see right here, I showed you this before, the Bitcoin total market cap, so everything broke out, right? We had a lot of rejections right here and we broke out, and now it's going up. Right? Total 2, everything except Bitcoin, is also going up less hard. So it means that Bitcoin is pumping more than the rest, but it's still going up. If you looked at the total 3, we did not break out, but now we finally did. We did break out last week, and we had a closure as well, right? And now we are sitting at big resistance. So it's the question, like, what are we going to do? Are we going to bounce back and test it as support right now? Or are we just going to blast through it, and will altcoins really run, right? Then this is the next support resistance level, which is no, there is some more resistance, of course, right here as well. But I think this is the big first resistance, the first big resistance level, which is another 20% up, give or take, which is around 30% on average on altcoins, because this also includes stable coins. So it's around 1.5x on an altcoin if you look at this chart. So that's the question. Will we go down? Or will we go up? Yeah, I cannot answer that for you. I suspect down. Why? You know, we broke out, but we did not have our retest yet. And usually we get such a retest. Also, the Bitcoin dominance is not necessarily looking very weak or something to me like that. So I don't expect the Bitcoin dominance to go down. So in that case, if we want to go up while the Bitcoin dominance is also going up or staying here, it means Bitcoin has to really break out as well. In the shorter term, I feel like, you know, that 25K is just big resistance, and we haven't really tested it a lot yet. And we had a very big pump. Like I said, it's understandable if Bitcoin comes down as well to test, right? In my opinion, we don't break out now. We will, but it might take another few weeks, in my opinion. But, you know, I could be completely wrong. Maybe by the time you watch this video, we are at $50 million. I don't know. But overall, the total 3 did break out, and that's a good thing, right? We also hold the bull market support band for a couple of weeks now. We tested it as support, and it perfectly bounced right there. And now it brought us all up, right? So, you know, although Bitcoin is going up, altcoins are finally showing a little life as well. So tomorrow, I'm gonna drop a video. I wanted to do that today, but tomorrow I'm gonna drop a video when I will buy into my medium risk portfolio with coins like Phantom, Cake, Chainlink, what else do I have in my medium? Uniswap, well, maybe even Cardano. I don't have that, but a couple of these coins at least, right? If you have some coins you want me to take a look at, when I would buy them, leave a comment. I will get back to that. For now, it's been long enough. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm here every day having no life at all on camera. So I hope you enjoy the content and have a nice day. Take care.